Soy catalán.
I am Catalan, she says. I can't deny my country, but my blood is just boiling.
The Catalan crisis, the region's leader is set to address Parliament in the next hour. Will he announce independence following a disputed referendum vote? Coming up, we'll go live to Barcelona. Also ahead, wildfires rage across Northern California, reducing homes to ash and killing at least 11 people. Ahead, how firefighters are trying to battle the blaze. Plus, tension at the very top. The American Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense invited to dine with the president. Later, a look at their trip to the White House and the deepening differences with their boss. Hello and welcome to Connect the World. I'm Lynda Kinkade in Atlanta, filling in for Becky Anderson. Good to have you with us. Well, in the next hour, 300 years of Spanish history will fall into the hands of just one man. This is Catalonia's president, who could be about to declare independence for the region. Even the very prospect of that is hugely controversial in Spain, where there have been ongoing protests both for and against the move. Well, let's head straight to Barcelona now to join international diplomatic editor Nic Robertson. Good to have you on the story for us there, Nic. And this announcement could happen within less than an hour. What are we likely to hear when the Catalan president speaks?
Well, this is, again, the question that everyone is hanging on here, because his inner circle have been very, very tight-lipped. They won't say precisely what he's going to say. They have said some of the things that he won't say. I asked, well, is he likely to call for another election? I was told that isn't likely. There's a real strong sense here, a tension in the air, if you will, that he will make some kind of statement about independence. Now, what will the language be? How strong will it be? We don't know. Right now, we're literally outside the Catalan Parliament, waiting for Carlos Puigdemont to arrive. The police have stood up. The cameras are all ready. The helicopters are circling in the air overhead. He left another government building just a few minutes ago to drive off through the city. When he left there, the crowds lining the streets were cheering him as he went on his way. There is an expectation and a feeling that this is a moment in history. But the Spanish government has reiterated what the Spanish Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister have been saying all along. The spokesman from the Spanish Parliament today saying don't do anything irreversible, don't do something where you can't make a U-turn, don't go into a dead end, and don't, if you will, get yourselves into a position of declaring independence, which will only lead to illegality. I'm looking now just off to my left, Lynda, and I can see 3 or 4 vehicles arriving, and that's what we're expecting. Carlos Puigdemont to arrive in a number of saloon vehicles. A helicopter is right overhead. It's been tracking the movements of its convoy. Looking to my left here as those vehicles arrive. I'm going to stand out of the way because we're expecting Carlos Puigdemont to get out of one of these vehicles here, possibly this grey vehicle you're looking at now. Waiting to see if Carlos Puigdemont is getting out. History, there he is, getting out of the black car over there on the far side, shaking hands, acknowledging there are many, many cameras there, turning to look, glances up at the helicopter in the sky, and he's gone inside the Catalan Parliament building there. He's gone in there with the Catalans as a nation, and there's a possibility he is going to push to declare the Catalans a country, independent. That would cross many red lines that have been set, not least by the Spanish Parliament. We've also heard from Donald Tusk, the European Council President, just an hour or so ago, appealing to both sides to leave a window of opportunity for dialogue, not to cross lines. This is what he said.
A few days ago, I asked Prime Minister Rajoy to look for a solution to the problem without the use of force, to look for dialogue, because the force of argument is always better than the argument of force. Today, I ask you to respect in your intentions the constitutional order and not to announce a decision that would make such a dialogue impossible.
Well, that's a very clear message from the European Union to Carlos Puigdemont, literally in the hour before he entered the building just a few minutes ago there, not to announce independence. The European Union's position on this is that this is a constitutional Spanish issue. It doesn't involve the European Union. Carlos Puigdemont and his coalition would like to see the European Union involved so that they could be involved in some kind of negotiation, getting past this impasse with the Spanish government. But at the moment, it is all eyes and all ears on him because no one knows precisely what he's going to say. This is a man who's known as a pragmatist. He is a former journalist. He's been the Catalan president for just over 18 months now. When he came to office, the expectation was that he would help develop and get the Catalans in a position for a referendum. He did that, but also help and develop parallel institutions. So, you know, the concerns right now for the Spanish government, what is he going to say? What has he been doing? What have his supporters been doing in the meantime to prepare themselves for this day? And this is why people here are very, very concerned about precisely what he says, Lynda.
And Nick, on the day of the referendum, we saw that police cracked down, hundreds of people injured there. What can we expect if he declares independence today? Talk to us about the police presence right now.
Sure. In terms of police presence here, what you're seeing around the Catalan parliament is Mossos, the Catalan police. If you were a Spanish policeman right now and you wanted to come into the parliament, you would have to enter the extensive grounds around the parliament building here, and currently they're secured by Mossos. So you would have to ask, if you're a Spanish police officer, you would essentially have to get permission of the Catalan police to come in here. There is a high court building here in Barcelona, which now has a joint Catalan and Spanish police presence. That's not normal, but the situation is still calm. It's very much still calm, if you will. But these are the indications that, you know, should push come to shove, should there be a decision, an announcement on independence, you know, what will the different police forces do? You know, if you look at the referendum where the Spanish police used truncheons, used force to try to stop people voting, what Carlos Puigdemont's party say is that there were areas where the police presence, wasn't any police presence, and the voting and the turnout there was very high, and they point to that as a legitimacy in these elections. They say in some areas where the police weren't present, there was 70, 80% turnout, and obviously 90% of the people who did turn out voted yes for independence. Many people who would have voted no didn't turn out to vote because they believe the referendum was illegal and unconstitutional, which is a position of the Spanish government. So, you know, as far as the referendum last week goes, we could expect Carlos Puigdemont to point to the places where the police weren't present and point to its legitimacy, because that would be the foundation of trying to move for independence.
All right, Nic Robertson, our international diplomatic editor, good to have you with us on the story. We will come back to you again soon when the Catalan leader makes his address. We will have much more after the break. Stay with us on what could be the run-up to this momentous decision in Barcelona.